Hello, my dear teachers. We, on behalf of IPE Global PIU 1, Diesel, Department of Education, Government of Meghalaya, welcome all of you in this training. This training, it is a bold adventure and most meaningful intervention when we are in this middle of pandemic. The requirement of the training stresses more emphasis and more reasons because of the COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has started and picked up in India early March. And since then, we are continuously in the lockdown. Our school is completely closed. And the amount of loss at the global level is just unimaginable. It is huge. 90% of the students, according to the World Bank report, 90% of the students they are impacted because of the COVID. Their learnings, their teaching, they are impacted because of the COVID. 90%. Only 10% they are running into smooth. The amount of the learning loss, that is the kind we are imagining and measuring right now with the international organization. It is somewhere between 0.3 years to 0.7 years annually. And if you can put into together at the quality adjustment, then before COVID, 11.2 years of school education was about to complete by one single student. After the COVID, that has decreased to 7.9 years only. This is the amount of loss we are talking, my friends. Whole our future generation is at stake. The decade of interventions and reforms in the education that has been going through, this COVID-19 has completely reversed it. In India, when we talk about our education systems, and especially after COVID-19, we are facing huge challenges. The challenge that we are facing, and we were never prepared about it. We did not know that this is coming. So we were never prepared. The teachers, system, education, infrastructures, all the way that has combined, and the students, they are at the receiving end. And importantly, students, they are coming from remote areas. Students coming from the poor background, they are the worst at receiving end. These are the students, they are not learning, they are not participating. There is a research of the UNICEF that is saying 30% of the students since COVID pandemic, they are not participating any learning activity. They are not reviewing lessons, they are not doing homework, they are not reading. Everything is closed and they are not participating at all. This 30% of students becomes more huge, impactable when we have an idea of large number of students already we have out of the school. The severity of this number you can imagine by the fact that in India we have a huge number of students, they are already out of the schools, and these students, they were coming to the schools. Out of them, 30% they have added into this tally. This kind of 65% of the total students, they are impacted in India, 65%, and they do not have access to education. The teachers are doing hard work. The school are closed, buildings are closed, but teachers' work has doubled and tripled. But the problem is that is not reaching to the people who are at the remote level. It is not reaching to the students who are at the receiving end. Those, they are unreachable. So this is the huge challenges that we are facing. Because of the COVID, the worst affected sector in the education is school education. Because school education, it is the largely we are focusing to the students for nurturing their career, and the students who are coming from the far areas, these students have stopped to coming. There is one research that shows the varieties of the component, especially because of the COVID, that students are facing. The number one is that difficulty in adjusting the learning styles. Many of the students, they are facing a lot of difficulties because the learning style has completely changed. Now this learning style has focused on the online oriented, Google Classroom, Zoom, WhatsApp Classroom, and they do not have that adjustment capacity or ability, and they are facing huge challenge regarding to this. Now, when the students, they are at the home, especially the girls students, they feel more responsible to do the homework, the manual work, the domestic work. So their time is spent more into the domestic work, cooking and cleaning and other things than the learning. Another thing that we are facing is the poor communication between teachers and the students. That is also the huge factor, that the communication gap we already have even before the COVID. Now this has become the big challenge for it. The students at the home they are right now, they do not have they do not have the space to have a conducive environment for education. They have very limited spaces, and they do not have any kind of social distancing norms and the social distancing imbibed environment at their home for learning. And another one is that the internet is the huge problem that we are facing. Many of the school students, they do not have internet at home. They do not have gadgets, they do not have tablets, laptops, phones, smartphones. They do not have such kind of gadgets and technology. The technological skill is also a big problem. And another thing is for the poor students, those they are at the home, their fathers, their mothers, their income has been now shrinked. So they feel more responsible toward, so now they are earning extra income. They have started work instead of the learning. So these are the problems that we are facing day-to-day life, and we are experiencing these kind of problems. There is another survey by the Science Direct and the UNICEF that has focused on the India, and they say 42% of the school students, they are feeling stress, depressed or anxiety, or they have anxiety. 42%. 59% of the school students, they say they do not have any smartphone in entire their home. And 40% of the students, they say they do not have internet connections. 62% of the students, they say they do not have any environment or infrastructure to complete this learning online. And 10% teachers who doesn't want to teach. These are the facts and statistics are in front of us. And if we measure the impact of this loss and these statistics, we are going to lose $1 trillion economy in coming years. This is the huge income loss to the people, and this will help. This will push to the majority of the people to the below poverty of level. My dear teachers, we are right now in the middle of crisis. Just I have explained and just I have described the problems that we are facing. Students level, to the teachers level, to the systems level, to the infrastructure level. What we will do when the school will open? That's the question we should think of. What we will do when the school will reopen? How we will adjust the learning style? How we will motivate our children? How we will manage our classrooms? How we will inspire them to learning? How we will motivate to come to bring them to the schools? What would be our infrastructure? What would be our size of the classroom? What would be teacher pupil ratio? What will be the idea of the school itself? We have to redefine everything. Since the students' motivation to the learning styles, we have to redefine everything. And how challenging it would be, how difficult it would be, that the time will tell. But what right now we know is that our whole generation is at stake. When a teacher stops work, no engineers will produce, no doctors produce, no lawyers are produced, no IAS and IPS are produced, no leaders are produced. Everything stops. The whole education scenario stops, and our knowledge of transformation has stopped. COVID-19 has severely affected education, no doubt, but surprisingly, education sector is also one of the sector which is very successful adapting and mitigating the strategy for the COVID-19. Many of our teachers, they have started lesson plan, the rubric, they have generating online content, online resources, they have started the classes, they have started Google Classroom, WhatsApp Classroom, Zoom Classroom, and many students are participating in this movement. But large number of students, they are lagging behind. They are pushed away. They remained untouched. They remained out of the system. They remained out of this movement. We need to bring these students, and that is the severe challenge that we are facing. Today, when we are in the middle of pandemic and we are talking about reopening of the school, we should also think about how long this pandemic will continue. and what are the challenges that we are going to face, and most importantly, what would be the mitigation strategies to minimize our learning loss and minimizing our income loss, and what teacher can do. This training is all about this, and this training will take you to the journey for focusing and re-emphasizing the role of the teacher, the redefining role of the teacher. In the COVID-19, the teacher's role has become something more than the teacher, and this is what we need to do it. And I'm very sure that we all together, who are very cautious and very bold, that we have gathered today in this classroom, that we are coming here for a common solution. We are gathered here to understand the challenges that we are facing, to understand the severity of problem that we are facing, and we will inspire the generation, and the history will remember us that middle of the pandemic, this training has taken place, and teachers who has the heart to change something has gathered here for a common cause, for a good cause, and for the sake of the generation. Thank you very much for joining.